Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I am Chelsea. Today I'm going to be talking about home birth essentials and tips that I have learned along the way. I just had my own home birth 2 weeks ago. It is so surreal that it has been 2 weeks. These past 2 weeks have been such a blur. We have been soaking up all the newborn snuggles, trying to take life slow, but we have been crazy busy. Let me catch you up on a few things. So we had our home birth June 15th. We signed on our house the next day. We got possession later in that week, and we just started home renos. I really wanted to record my tips and essentials fresh after the birth. That way it could be just really on my mind and what I thought really helped and what was important since I just had it happen. And this is something that I probably wished I would have researched a little bit more from moms that have had experience rather than moms prepping for. I did do a prepping video for home birth, and I think that is helpful to kind of get familiar with birthing supplies. But really, I think it's always good to learn wisdom from someone who's already done something that you want to do. Not saying that you have to do it the way that they do, but you can learn something from someone that has done what you want to do. Alright, so here we are. Let's get into the essentials for home birth and the tips that I have for you. First off, if you plan on having a home birth or an unmedicated birth, it is best to educate yourself on everything birth. You need to get familiar with what to expect, what most women feel, what could happen, everything, your options. Do you need cervical checks? Do you want that? Do you need ultrasounds? What your provider is going to have on hand at the time of your home birth. Every provider, I have learned, is completely different. What some midwives carry to a home birth, other midwives don't. Some midwives do breech babies and twins. Other midwives are not comfortable doing that. So really you want to educate yourself the best that you can before it's time to birth. That way you are not hit with any unexpected decisions. You have knowledge in your corner, and that will really help eliminate fear. So I want to go ahead and show you some books that I got this pregnancy. Now, I am ashamed to say that this is my third pregnancy, and I never bought a pregnancy book before this one. My little guy might be waking up. I never did any courses. I never did anything. I just kind of thought everything would come natural. It was in God's hands. I was really naive about it and uneducated, and I thought that the system was in my corner. I birthed my other 2 babies in the hospital. One was with an epidural, second one was completely natural, and what a world of difference, and that's why I'm here after my home birth. I loved my experience with my completely unmedicated birth, and I wanted that experience again for this birth. So anyways, so the books that I recommend, and that was recommended from my midwife for educating yourself on pregnancy, are the Natural Pregnancy book. This is great for just learning about your body, learning about the different care options, and then it also is great on how to handle certain conditions and issues naturally with herbs and tinctures and stuff like that. So if you are looking to go more the naturopathic route, this is great for that to keep on hand. The other one is Real Food for Pregnancy. This was an eye-opener to me of what you need to eat. I've never had any professional educate me on what the body needs when you're pregnant, and my midwife was excellent on that and just really opening my eyes on how important nutrition is for your baby. And it really made me intentional this time around on what I ate, and I believe it helped me feel a lot better. And then I'm sure you probably have heard of this one, Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. I loved reading these birthing stories, and I loved the later part on what birth is, and and just all different things. This one is a great one. I think that everyone that gives birth should definitely have a copy of this, because I think it's awesome to hear just the different experiences that every woman has. I think it's important that women realize that no two births are the same. No two women are going to birth the same. We get, caught up in comparing ourselves and expecting us to have the same experience as someone else and yada yada. But that's just not the case, because everyone's body is different, everyone's mental state is different. And I think both those two things have a lot to do with how your birth turns out. So I would definitely recommend those. Along with reading this book, I highly suggest you take the time to watch, I think you might be pooping. I highly suggest you take the time to watch as many positive birth experiences as you can. I think it is so powerful to have a positive visualization, and just watching other women do it and knowing that thousands of women have done this before you and thousands are going to do it after you, and that you can do it too. And you just see all the different ways that people birth, the positions, how they handle their contractions, and just all different things. I think it's so amazing to just build your mind up with those visualizations before your birth. The earlier the better you start, but as long as you probably do it the month beforehand, I think you'll be good. But that is a huge thing that definitely helped me and helped me get over my fear, is just watching birth videos after birth videos. And that is actually why I decided to have my husband post our birth video online this time, because I thought, you know what, I have watched so many women's birth stories and it has helped my mind and my fears, and I would love to be able to show people our positive experience that we had, and to hope that I can empower them and help them through their own experience as well. Now, I'm saying a lot of things that kind of sound like the prepping for a home birth, but this is kind of like more mentally, I guess, rather than like the physical stuff that your midwife needs or that you might need. Because I really think that for a home birth, the mental part of it matters most, really, for you as the one birthing your baby. Because if you are having mental struggles with fear or anxiety, that is going to affect your labor and how your birth ends up. So the less issues we have with our mind, the easier our birth is going to be. I just really want to emphasize how important it is to work on that part, on prepping and getting yourself ready for your birth. He is a pooper. I'm gonna have to change that soon, but I think he's still going. So if you were going to have your kids present at your birth, which I highly recommend, I had Melina, who is 4.5, and Delilah, who is almost 2 at mine. There are a few things that you might want to do to prepare them for being there. I had Melina watch some birth videos with me. Now, I made sure that they weren't too intense or anything like that, but there were some of them that the moms were rather loud, and there's just different occurrences in each video, and I would show her and I would kind of talk to her about how, why everything's happening and how the mom's doing and how the baby's doing. And something that my midwife recommended is telling them that, sometimes moms roar their baby out. So I kind of let her know, mommy might be a little loud at sometimes, and that's okay. And it might sound like mommy's in a lot of pain, and it does hurt, but it's for a reason. Our bodies need to be able to get the baby out, and sometimes it's a little painful. So mommy might make a little noise, but she's gonna be okay. It won't last forever. And so every time we watch the videos together, I would just kind of reiterate those sayings and just let her know, everything will be okay. This is how, this is why it happens. This is how. This is who's going to be here. I kind of set up the whole picture for her, so that way when the day came, she had her own visualization on what was going to happen, and it wasn't so surprising and shocking to her, because I think that's where a lot of fear comes in, when you don't know what to expect and you don't know what's going to happen. So I definitely showed her a ton of water births, because that's what I wanted for my birth. and she was so excited about the pool, and she was thrilled when it was time to get the pool out here. So I definitely recommend showing your older children, if you feel that it's appropriate, some birthing videos. That way they know what to expect. I think it will help your child with that adjustment. And that I was very fortunate that my children were asleep most of the time that I labored. I started laboring around 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, and my midwife came around 2:30, and then I was getting ready to push right before 6 o'clock. And they had woken up a little bit before that, right as the sun was coming up, which is crazy that they woke up that early, but they came out of the room, they saw the house was all set up with the midwife gear, and they came to check on me, and then I was like ready to go and we were getting the tub set up, and then 10-15 minutes later our baby was here. So everything happened very quickly. They were up for the best part, the part that I really wanted them to be a part of, and I am so grateful for how everything turned out. If you have not seen our birth video, make sure to go check it out. I will have it linked below. I just find it so amazing to watch, and I still get very emotional hormones watching our birth video, and I just think how beautiful we are created and this world is, how everything fits together. And it's such a beautiful process, and I'm so grateful for my body to be able to carry it out like how it was designed to. Some things that I realized after I had birth, I did not prep my bedroom really to labor in. I prepped my bed to possibly birth in. You know, we had the shower curtain and everything like that, and the extra sheets for if I were to give birth in it, but I did not expect to labor the entire time in my bedroom, which is what I did. So I would really recommend like setting up more than one birthing space that you are comfortable in. That way you are at a peace of mind and you're happy with your environment. I was honestly in the middle of the night, so I really didn't care. I was so exhausted and it didn't bother me, but I am someone that likes my environment a certain way, and my room was a hot mess. If I was like in a normal state of mind, I guess, then that probably would have really bothered me, but I was so focused on my breathing and my contractions and just really in tune with my body that I didn't care about anything. So I really recommend getting 2 spaces ready and go and set up with your flow, whether that's your affirmations, the lighting, you know, if you want essential oils going, have all that kind of in 2 spots. That way you don't have to do it at the time of, or have your husband do it, or anyone else there. Another thing that I found so helpful that I've never done before in any of my other labors is having a hypnobirthing playlist going while I am laboring. I downloaded Christian hypnobirthing this time around, and I listened to it probably just a week before I gave birth. I had found it really late, and I was on the fence of whether or not I wanted an app for it. I had listened on Spotify and stuff like that, but there was nothing that really was what I was looking for, and I downloaded that app, and I will link it below. It has different psalms and verses related to, you know, how strong you are and that it's in God's hands. It gave me the strength to push through the contractions that were very difficult and very intense, and it really helped me through it. It definitely changed my mindset in times that I felt like I wanted to just sleep and give up kinda, and it just kept me going and really just in the zone and focused on my breathing and relaxed. I definitely have to say that this is a labor that I really did not have fear. In all my other labors, I was consumed with fear the whole entire time. As soon as I knew that I was in labor, I had like the jitters that I was actually in labor. And even though I knew what to expect, especially my second time, I was still fearful of the process of what could happen, what could go wrong. But all the tools that I had in my pocket this time and all the education that I did, and I really think the affirmations and just really entrusting the Lord and putting my faith in that, just, it was a game changer this time, and I was just at such peace, and I'm so grateful to that app. So if you haven't looked and you are a Christian woman and that sounds appealing to you, definitely go check that out. If you are not Christian or anything like that, there are tons of hypno tracks that are not faith-based or anything like that that will be a great option for you as well. You just have to look on the App Store and find those. I don't have a recommendation for an app for that one. I do have to say that I know a lot of people see like the affirmations hung up in all the birth videos and stuff like that, and I think it's so pretty, and I definitely did that too because that's what I saw, but I didn't read them whatsoever when I was birthing or laboring, because one, I was in my bedroom and they were out here because I had changed them over for when I was in labor. And two, it's just hard for me when I'm like laboring. I keep my eyes closed a lot. I'm just really in my own head. So my eyes are open looking around at things, but I can hear the app and what it's saying and the music and just everything like that can just go automatically. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to read it. It's just kind of coming to me when it's on the phone. So I definitely recommend that version for when you are in labor. The affirmation cards are great for you a few months ahead of time when you are getting ready to go into labor, but at the time of, it's not that helpful. So just being honest and throwing it out there that you definitely probably want something on your phone that can play, or on your TV or whatever. Another tip for having a successful home birth is making sure that your provider is running labs on you, especially the last few months of your pregnancy. There can be some complications, hemorrhaging, postpartum bleeding, everything like that. I'm saying this because I did have some bleeding issues this time around and I was anemic. We were aware of it, so we were on top of it. But for some providers that do not run labs, and that could happen very unexpectedly, and they cannot get you out of the tub and be proactive about it, that can be a lot scarier and be a need for a transfer. I'm assuming if you are deciding to have a home birth, the last thing you want to do is be transferred to a hospital, especially after you have your baby. I mean, no one wants to take the baby into the hospital when they were just at their home. So ask your provider to run some labs on you, especially to check your iron and see where your level's at before you're getting ready to give birth. That way, if you are low, you can get on some iron, eat a higher red meat diet, and go from there to build your iron back up. That way you will not have any issues if you do lose a little bit more blood than normal. Like I said, I was anemic. I lost quite a bit of blood this time. I'm not really sure why. My midwife thinks that the placenta did take a little bit of time to detach, and I had passed some clots during that time, and so that could be part of the reason. He was 9 pounds 8 ounces. I always think sometimes that the bigger baby I have, it seems that I tend to bleed a little bit more. But like I said, I was anemic, so I had a harder time handling the blood loss. But we were aware of it, very proactive afterwards, and everything worked out fine. There was no transfer. I just needed some extra rest. But yeah, another thing is for birthing at home, it's very important to make sure that you are aware of what interventions you want to have done and what you don't. I highly recommend researching some topics like the Hep B shot, the vitamin K, black box warning, the eye ointment, your options for if you have group B strep. Let's see what else. Circumcision, is it necessary? What does it entail? How does the child handle it? Delayed cord clamping, the golden hour, skin to skin for you and your partner, placenta encapsulation. That was a new one for me. I had never heard of it, and apparently it's actually kind of popular on what you do with your placenta. So there are so many things to research before the day that you give birth, and it's just important for you to be aware on what you want to actually do with your options. Another thing I would say to do is to make sure you have a lot of Depends on hand. I did not buy any extra. I only bought what was in my birthing kit, which I think was like 2 or 3, and I wore those while I was laboring. I wore those after I labored, and I wore them for like a week after at the postpartum period as well. So I highly recommend, instead of buying, I mean, you can buy pads as well, but along with pads, that you have a bunch of Depends that fit and that are comfortable for you to wear afterwards, because wow, they are amazing. I was so comfortable in them. Postpartum, I felt like I was completely covered. I did not have any leakage. I didn't have to worry about getting, you know, postpartum fluid or blood anywhere. Everything was kept in, and I liked that it supported my abdominal area as well. I had them up probably around my belly button area, so I just felt like it kind of held all my squish after birth in. So I really recommend having those on hand. I think he went back to sleep. I'm not so sure. Don't forget, if you haven't watched our home birth video, make sure to check that out. I also have the prepping for home birth, that I go over everything that was in my home birth supply list and everything that I prepped for the home birth here. And then I have prepping for baby number 3, which is just kind of how we set up our home, our little stations, and everything like that. I also have a video on prepping some meals for the postpartum period for the freezer. They have come in handy so often, because the last thing I want to do is cook right now, so it's just great that we can pull out a meal and pop it in the oven or crock pot after it has thawed out and it is all done. There's no prepping or anything like that, so that has been so nice. I hope you like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below on any tips that you have for moms that are expecting and plan on home birthing, or if you have any questions on the whole experience or anything like that, let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you are interested in anything with home birth, if you are interested in creating your own homestead, or even home renovations. We have so many things going on. We plan on sharing everything about our little guy that has just come into the world and our home projects. We are first-time home buyers, and we hope to grow a little homestead. We have no experience in any of that stuff, but we are gonna do it, and I hope it goes great. Yeah, so if you're interested in any of the above, follow along on our journey, and we'll keep you updated on how we do. See you next time, guys.